All right. Welcome to another episode of an Anarchist Conversation. This is our first, what will be probably like a full length episode. I don't really shoot for a certain time frame or anything like that, but we'll see how far we go as far as time is concerned. Um, if you want to call in, we're live on YouTube right now. So if you want to call in, the number's 732-685-4448. Um, I've been a little under the weather the past couple days, so please bear with me if I cough or sneeze or anything like that. Um, I am going to do my best to not do anything along those lines during the show. So I figured, let's start off talking about current events a little bit. That's, one of my favorite things to do, just to kind of keep myself aware of what's going on around me. Um, One thing I saw recently, I'm sure many of you have been paying attention to the self-driving cars coming out. It's a new technology thing. Recently, a driver, well, they call him a driver. Technically, he's a passenger. He's not actually driving, but one of the test drivers basically the car crashed because it couldn't distinguish between the white side of a truck and a sky. Um, so that man actually died in the car accident. So basically, I believe that was the first fatality for self-driving cars. Um, it's an interesting thing. One person I saw commented and basically said, when new technology comes out, you still have to be aware. Things might go wrong. You get the first generation of something, and there's always going to be kinks. So we're dealing with self-driving cars here. Yeah. Maybe you got to stay a little more, aware of your surroundings. Maybe you have to actually take control of the car. Be ready to until we know that this is more of a foolproof thing. Some people might just not want to get involved with it at all. Not quite sure where I stand. I'll have to try it, I guess, once to kind of figure that out. Maybe on a test track or something somewhere. Um, in other news, 80% of cannabis users give up prescription drugs. This comes from a Center for Addictions Research of BC study. Um, Basically, they are finding that people are giving up prescription drugs rather quickly when they start to use cannabis, and especially when cannabis becomes legalized. Now people are free to use it and find out all of its uses. So that's becoming a big thing. There's articles about that and the self-driving car incident on our Facebook page. If that is something that interests you, you want a little bit more information, maybe you want to go check out the page and you know see what else there is to see about these issues. Again, if you want to call in, the number is 732-685-4448. Check us out on the Facebook page. That number is posted there as well. In other news, in Michigan, they're going to start doing roadside drug tests. Basically, they're going to use mouth swabs, and only trained officers will be doing this at first, but I have a feeling eventually they're basically going to train all their officers to do this. So that's where it's going to start. So if you're driving through Michigan, watch out. They might pull you out and mouth swab you to see whether or not you've been smoking pot or doing anything else along those lines. Anyway, I had mentioned that I did want to start kind of connecting the listeners with other anarchist businesses and entrepreneurs and things like that. Um, so one I had mentioned last week, but didn't have all the information to give out yet. Uh, a friend of mine had advertised some T-shirts for sale on her Facebook page, and I went and found the company. It's withoutroller.com. They have merchandise. They're mostly T-shirts. $20 a piece. One of the funny ones I saw was Wounding Warrior Project, not wounded, wounding Warrior Project, and basically it was the outline of the Pentagon around a soldier carrying another soldier, and it just said the Pentagon at the bottom. So they've got some cool stuff there. I've personally made a few T-shirts myself that say some anarchist things, whatever I want to put on them. and basically I've been charged $30, $40 depending upon where I go. I'm just going there to get one quick shirt made, blah blah blah. So yeah, it does cost a bit, but you go through these guys, they're only charging $20. I didn't check out the shipping on that end. Maybe there's some shipping costs as well, but yeah, they're pretty cool. Check them out. They got a bunch of different shirts to look at, and obviously you know that by supporting them, you are supporting someone with an anarchist type mind frame. Um, Moving on towards culture a little bit and stuff. One of the articles I had posted on the Facebook page this past week was about pot and parenting. I am not a parent, so this doesn't personally affect me, and I don't have any personal stories to share about it. But I did find the article interesting, kind of talking about how marijuana is becoming more socially accepted. So social workers and stuff aren't really they don't immediately see that often as a reason to just take kids away from parents. Have they? Will they? Yes. So I'd be interested to see or hear rather personal stories. Has anyone been affected by a social worker because of pot? If something's like that has happened, sure, call up. I want to hear about it. The article made it seem like this will almost never happen unless you have a very serious problem uh, with marijuana, serious abuse and blah blah blah. But you know, it doesn't seem like that's always the way it goes. I've heard some stories where it seems like just because parents smoked pot, their kids got taken away. So yeah, I'd like to hear it if anyone has any situations like that going on. Um, this isn't exactly news. Most of us have been seeing this going on, but I thought it was something kind of interesting to talk about, especially in terms of kind of anarchist culture in a sense. Um, the financial collapse, the financial bubbles of today's economic markets. I've heard reports of it being 8 times bigger than the housing bubble of 2008, which I was reading this one source that was talking about. It's not just student loans or car loans or loans to governments are currently the biggest bubble. And I'd never really thought about that before, but yeah, sure. Look at all the money that's getting loaned to governments. Basically, no questions asked. Oh, they're governments. They'll pay it back. Um, so there's a huge bubble right there. We see this kind of activity going on, and we start wondering, is there going to be an economic collapse? Are we going to be able to survive the way we do now? What do we as anarchists really do when we're looking around and that's what we see? I'm sure some of us don't just strive to, but have actually created lifestyles that if everything around us were to fall apart, we would actually be okay, be able to survive, something like that. And personally, I would love to get there. However, that does seem not impossible, but a rather lofty goal, like a challenge to get there, especially for someone young who doesn't have a whole lot of assets or capital, blah blah blah. Buying land isn't exactly cheap. Um, but what else can we do? What do you guys do? Is it just about having some land and a house out in the middle of nowhere that might not be hit? Is it about having a bunker underground? Is it about having go bags ready to go, silver, gold, blah blah blah? I'm sure we all have a million different ways of kind of preparing ourselves or just living in such a way that we're just ready for it. I think that would be an interesting discussion to have. So if you have personal stories about yourself, about a friend, whatever, what are you doing? What are you doing to be ready to make sure that, no matter what goes on around you, you're still good to go? Um, I was looking for some music to talk about, and Strike Anywhere came up. Uh, they're they seem to lean towards a green anarchist perspective a little bit. Not a problem. Their music is fun, and I think that's what I really like about them. Their music is fun. The song "I'm Your Opposite Number." Uh, that's a good one. To the world, where they're basically pledging allegiance to the world, not a country. You know, instead of I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, they're saying I pledge allegiance to the world, which, someone might look at and say, oh, well, it's like a one world government kind of thing or something. But no, they're just saying, I'm a human. My race is humanity. And I kind of agree with that in a sense, and I like that vibe. Um, anyway, yeah, if you want to call in and talk real quick, 732-685-4448. I know we're just getting things going, honestly. I hardly expect anyone to call for a while, but um, something I want to try and see if anyone really kind of gets into. So I also want to line up some more interviews. Remember, Magi Productions. I'll be working on getting an interview with them to highlight them more for the listener, and maybe I can get some interviews done with withoutruler.com. See if we can some more energy in on this show. Um, if you'd like to contribute, please, post something on the Facebook page, converse with us, talk about what's going on. I'd like to bring the listener in more. So, it's been fun so far. Please contribute. We're doing live on the YouTube now. You might be watching right now. Maybe you're not. I don't know. There's two people watching. I wonder who those two people are. I think it counts me as one of them. I don't really know. Anyway, yeah, we'll be doing YouTube live every episode. I'm thinking about doing a weeknight episode, similar kind of thing. Just kind of chit chatting like anarchists. I don't really want to get too deep into philosophy, but let's do that. I will be on YouTube or YouTube. I am on YouTube. I'm working on making sure things are working with iTunes. I have a Libsyn account. That's where the podcast gets posted, and then it should go to iTunes as well. Um, so yeah, if you want to listen to it later, show your friends, whatever, that'd be great. Let's start interacting. Let's build an anarchist family here, and let's just have fun with this. All right, guys. I'll check you out next time. It's been fun. Have a good one.